All right, we're getting started. Okay, what the heck, man? It is 4:34. I hate when that happens, but it is what it is. It's just good to be here. So while you're watching this, you just let me know what your thoughts are, okay? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Mitch Goldberg. You're watching my post-market show. It's a live stream called Be the Boss of Your Money, where we put the personal into personal finance. Talk about investing, planning, personal finance, markets, economics, financial news, all the things that you need to do to know to be the boss of your money. I've got almost 32 years of experience as a financial advisor, and I have so much information and knowledge to share with you, stories, anecdotes, challenges that I've seen clients and myself overcome. There's a lot in here, and it's going to come out into this show. So that's what it's all about. Today, I've got two stories. These are true stories. I'll be brief with them and let you know how how I think in terms of personal finance. But there's a lesson in each one that you're going to take away. So two stories. One has to do with Ford stock, and the other has to do with a father and son clients that I have. So let's roll a quick intro. We're going to go through the day's news updates. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. And while you're watching this, if you have any questions, you know I love hearing from you. Hit me up with your questions in the comments. Words of wisdom, words of encouragement are always appreciated. Don't hesitate to give this a like, give it a thumbs up, a heart, a celebrate reaction, a laugh reaction, depending on what platform you are watching from. We're broadcasting to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And here we go. All right. Thank you for joining me. I'm Mitch Goldberg. We're just getting started. We've got a couple of important updates first. We're going to talk about two stories, one with Ford, um, one with the father and son team. These have to do with personal finance. And that's really what I want the focus to be on. I know we like to talk about investing and should you invest in crypto or gold or, whatever sector that's moving up now. But I really also want to keep the emphasis on personal finance because personal finance over time, um, personal finance is what's going to have an impact on your wealth, your livelihood, quality of life down the road, not just some stock, although it's interesting. We don't always have to talk about the sexy stuff in the market every day. We could just talk about plain vanilla personal finance lessons. But let's just go to a quick share screen, pop myself up in the corner. The first big news, the FDA panel recommends Pfizer's low dose COVID vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. I have three kids who are in adolescence, and I got them all the vaccine. If I had a child in that age group, 5 to 11, I would get my child the vaccine. But I think this is a good thing. There's a lot of side effects and lingering issues. Let me see if I can make the screen a little bit bigger, okay? So you could see it on your smartphone, all right? So what's the next big piece of news? Let's go through the quick update, okay? So the Dow was up only 15 points. It was up over 100 earlier today. And it just kind of never, you know, the Dow's had a ton of momentum. All the major averages, have had a ton of momentum. So, so it just looks like the momentum is a little tired. It's a market. I feel like the stock market has a little bit of a tired feel. We've gone up. Earnings have come out. They've been a really good earnings season. They've presented a good earnings season so far and decent forecasts going forward in spite of supply chains and labor shortages. So the Dow is barely up. NASDAQ was barely up. S&P was up 8 points, barely up. So not a whole hell of a lot going on. Gold below 1,800 again. Oil was up again, up 86. It was off a drop yesterday, but it was up a little bit more than that today. The 10-year Treasury at 1.61%. I don't know if you could see that, but 1.61%, still above the 1.6 mark. The VIX was up ever so much, up 4.86%. See that plus 4.86%. That might seem like a lot to you, but the VIX, it's very typical for the VIX, the volatility index, to move up or down by 5 percentage points. It's nothing unusual. It's a leverage index based on derivatives, short-term derivatives, that basically capture the feeling of large investors based on if they're buying protection or not. So if they're buying, let's say, puts and other derivatives to bet on the market going lower, the VIX would go up. It's barely up today, though. I wouldn't pay too much attention. It's under 20. That's the big deal. Rust 2K down. So small cap stocks were down. So it's the only major average I was actually down today of the ones that I follow. Okay, let's move on to something bigger and better. Let's have the more fun. I wouldn't say bigger and better, but something that's interesting. Bitcoin down to 62,000, off 1%. No great shakes. We have to realize that Bitcoin has come a long way in the last month. We had that Bitcoin ETF that was launched, which we've been talking about a lot here. It's not really a Bitcoin ETF, it's a Bitcoin futures ETF. I've created a ton of content on that. And if you want, check out my YouTube channel and you'll see it there. It's one of the more recent posts, so it's easy to find. And if you check me out on LinkedIn or my Facebook business page or Instagram, you'll see the snippets that the clips from that about the Bitcoin futures ETF. And let's just take a look. Wait, hold on, I'm skipping out here, but Bitcoin off a little bit. Ethereum was up a little bit. Okay, Ethereum over the $4,000 mark continues to be up there, and I always have to look at Dogecoin just because it's a joke. But 27 cents was like 24 cents, I think, like a week ago. So that's actually 24 to 27 is not actually a bad move. Okay. It's percentage wise, it's actually a pretty good move. Now, Robinhood is plunging after market trading. People are worried about their volume slowing down, trading volume. So, $3 might not sound like a big deal, but you're talking about a $39 stock dropping over $3 a share. So there you go, down 8.5%. I want you to see something. The high in this, okay, was 85. I think it came out at either 40 or 42, but basically everyone's down in it. I mean, maybe there's one person who bought it at the low at 33.25, right? But for the most part, almost everyone's down in it, but it's down from 85. A lot of people chased it, got excited about 85, 80, 75, 60, and here we are. Fad stock, meme stock. It's probably an apt description, and that's what you get. So it's down. We'll see, but free trades. Well, E-Trade and Schwab. I mean, everyone's doing free trades, and in fact, a lot of them are doing it without even using payment for order flow. So people feel like they're getting more of an honest shake with the free trades elsewhere. Twitter up $2. Daily active users wasn't anything impressive, but numbers on that were okay. Microsoft is up $3. They beat earnings and revenues. A lot of people are thinking the stock would drop on numbers because just up so much, and it's got a pretty high valuation based on a lot of metrics that we commonly use. But nope, it's still moving up a little bit after market trading. Google also came out with numbers. Google is down less than 2%. So no great shakes. The stock has been up a lot. It was up $37 in the regular session, down 52 in aftermarket. So net negative $15, which on a $2,700 stock is not that big of a deal. And let's talk about the DWAC. This is another one we're looking at every day. Do you know what this is? Digital World Acquisition Corp. It's a SPAC. It came public at $10 a share. And that's what most SPACs, special purpose acquisition corporations, they usually come public at 10. Almost every one of them. Maybe there's one that came out at 15 or something, but typically it's a $10 stock. They raise money from investors. People buy the IPO. the $10 a share IPO, and the company says we're going to merge with another company and become a stock because they're already publicly traded, so they could merge with a private company, and that private company automatically is now public. And it's a quicker way to go public, but there's less disclosures. And because of that, less investor disclosure, less risk disclosures, investors are considered to be in a riskier position. Digital World Acquisition Corporation is going to merge with the Trump media company that Trump is launching. And they're making this, I think they're calling it Truth. It evades me for a second. Truth Digital, whatever. It's going to be like a Twitter. It's going to be a social media site. Their pitch is it's going to be unvarnished. It's going to have, differing point of views, and there's not going to be any truth checking or fact checking. Truth Media is what it's called, actually. Thank you, Truth Media, and you could just say whatever you want and say, well, it's an alternative point of view, even if it's totally not true, and there's no one checking. It's just going to be like the Wild West. What I personally think it is, we spoke about this yesterday. Someone said, I think it's going to be a shit media company was the comment. And as a media company, could be good. By the way, Eric, I see you're out there, man. Yeah, you bought Robinhood, $40 with no expectations. All right, well, listen, it's just a gamble, right? But back to the DWAC. This will probably be used as a way to do political fundraising because that's what it's going to be for. All right, so it's going to be a very right wing, or I think that's a great way to put it, of social media. So we'll see how it goes. The point is, so when you say, "Oh, Mitch, what are you jumping into politics here?" No, it's a publicly traded stock. I'm allowed to talk about this. That's what we do here. We talk about publicly traded companies. It's a big part of the show, and you have to understand that we get into this. You're making your decision if you buy this on politics. Will this company ever make money? I mean, the way these companies make money, the way social media companies make money is they get you to be social on them. You enjoy them. You let your guard down. You click on those Facebook quizzes. You share information about things that you're shopping for. These companies follow your internet footprints, and then they serve you up. They help serve you digital ads, okay, that are geared to exactly what you're looking for. I mean, have you ever wondered why? Wow, I was just searching for cars, and the car I was thinking about, the ad popped up on Facebook. That's how. So that's how social media works. They give you something for free. In return, you're giving up your privacy. Some people have a problem with it. Some people don't. We're not going to solve this debate here. Okay. I happen to enjoy my social media, and I'm just very careful with what I say and do on it. And hopefully you are too. I drill this stuff into my kids' heads like daily, more than daily. Okay. Hey, listen, if you haven't raised 3 adolescent children in the age of social media, then please don't judge me. Okay. It's really hard. It's hard enough raising teenagers, but in the age of social media, it's a lot harder. Okay. My good friend Gary is out there. What's up, Gary Goff? So nice to see you. You say I am amazing. Hello, Mitch. You are amazing. You are too kind and such a good guy. Thank you for your texts, by the way. I really appreciate them, and hope to see you soon. Next time you come over, by the way, could you please bring your dogs? That would be a lot of fun. So great to see you, Gary. Thank you very much. So back to DWAC. So, for them to be a profitable social media company, they have to track you. Okay. Here it is. I love your show. I hope you're typing this stuff on social media because you're home or at your office, buddy, not while you're driving. I know you listen to this sometimes when you're driving. No, I know you wouldn't do that. Hopefully you're just home now, relaxing and not putting up with this horrible weather. By the way, if you're on Long Island, did you lose power? A lot of people lost power. We had like the worst, craziest storm today ever. Crazy. Mother of mercy. What a crazy story. Yes, at home. Good. I'm glad you're at home. With the floods on the Belt Parkway and the major roads and the expressway, everywhere I've been, it's just pretty awful. I'm lucky I work like 2 miles from my house, so it's all good. Yeah, and Eric, we're talking about social media. It's brutal, especially with girls. I have a daughter who's 17. We went through, the social media. We used to use what was a predecessor to Vine? Well, we used Vine, actually Vine, then that became TikTok. And we've been on all of them, with the kids. It is a tough thing with kids, the girls. And you heard all about that stuff with Instagram and how it affects girls, right? It's pretty scary stuff. And Keith is out there. You're the product in social. That's right. Listen, if you're at the poker table and you don't know who the sucker is, then it's you. Or as we like to say, if a service is free, then you're the product. So back to the DWAC. It's how do they make money? Is DWAC going to track you and serve up ads, but that are geared more toward a conservative base? Because that's how DWAC would have to make money. So we'll see how it goes. Or is it really going to be just a megaphone for Trump, and he's going to use it to raise money? Whatever it is, you have to realize that when you're buying a stock, emotions, you chuck them out the door and you decide then. This was $175 last week. I was looking at this before, it was 70, and I just popped a quote on it here, and it's 59. I mean, from 175 to 59. And so you've got to really be careful and not get caught up in this stuff, is a point I'm making. Lesson learned, hopefully, right? And now let's get into the last one, Ford. All right, so Ford was off 6 cents. It's off 7 cents in aftermarket trading. By the way, Ford and GM are coming out with their numbers, their quarterly numbers tomorrow. But Ford is up a lot this year. It's up 81% this year. Okay, so let's get into the two stories that I want to tell you, that I want to share some personal finance stuff. I was out last week at a great event, and as often what happens is friends come up to me and they ask me about their stock or their portfolio, some financial type question. And this one was, I'm not giving away any personal information. Okay, this was somebody who put a good sized chunk of money into Ford stock, and the Ford position now is currently worth over $100,000. So the position is basically almost quadrupled. And this person saying, I'm thinking about selling it, dumping the whole thing, getting out of the market. Maybe I'll wait, the market goes down 20, 30%, because the market's going down. I mean, the market's going to go down. It's going to have a crash. It's got to crash. And I get this a lot. If you're a financial advisor watching this, I'm sure you've gotten this too, right, Keith? Right, Eric? It's like, oh yeah, the market's it's got to go down. It's got to tank. Oh, there's too much going on. We hear this. And if you say that every single day in the course of your lifetime, you'll probably be right 2 or 3 times in the course of your adulthood, right? And I said, if I knew the market was going to crash or when it was going to go down, I would tell you. It would be great, because I just move all my clients into cash, buy everything at the bottom, write it back up. I'd magnify massively the amount of assets I manage. My clients would all be thrilled, and then I would get a gazillion referrals. I'd be king of the world, and everything would be awesome. And that's great if you believe in fairy tales. All right. Kind of like my live stream where I get to be a newscaster, and a guy on TV. Yeah. Okay. Just kidding. I know what this is. It's fun. I love this. I am digressing. My ADHD is kicking in. I have not had enough coffee today. So we're going to just, mother of us, we're going to move it. We're going to move along the story here. Josh is out there. Josh has called me Your Highness. Thank you, you wise guy. I could always count on you to take me down a notch too. Thank you very much. And one more quick thing here. Taking a bath on Intel holding for dividend and selling covered calls while I wait. Can't understand the valuation on AMD / NVIDIA versus Intel. Well, Nvidia and AMD have growth. Intel has the networking gear market and the PC market, but it's not growth. I mean, Intel's position 15 years ago is considered unassailable. Like Intel was the technology blue chip stock that you bought. It's like either you bought Intel or Microsoft or both. And there was a time when Microsoft wasn't doing that great either, and maybe Intel could turn it around. We'll see, but there's more of a premium on growth at a high valuation than just a good valuation. There's a good valuation is not good enough. A high valuation with growth, well, that is highly valued, which is why it has a high valuation, which is why they're up, NVIDIA and AMD, by all metrics that we use to value stocks as compared to Intel. So my friend asked me about Ford, and he's like, the market's got to tank, it's got to get going, it's got to, there's so many things going on with the market. So I think I'm just going to sell it all. And I'm like, what's the strategy for the Ford? Well, I have to sell. It's up a lot. Okay, what's the strategy? There is no strategy. It's like you're walking around with 6 figures large in this stock, and to this person, it's a pretty significant amount of money. I know what you're thinking. Well, some people 100,000 it's a gamble. Some people 100,000 is a very big deal. It's different for everybody. But to this person, to go from like 100,000 down to 50,000 in the stock would be a painful, horrible thing to see happen. So I said, what's the strategy? It's the strategy to buy is a lot easier than the strategy is to sell. Are you using a trailing stop order? Okay. Are you maybe thinking of selling 20%, $20,000 worth of the stock right now and put it away and diversify it into something else? By the way, diversification is a strategy that we use to reduce risk, but it doesn't necessarily protect your portfolio from going down in a generally down market. I got that under wraps so good now. So that's the key. So the lesson here is this: have a strategy, because it asked me what do I think of Ford and if I'm recommending it to my clients. That's really not something I want to get into in the live stream. You're welcome to call me up and ask me what my opinion is on Ford. All right. But what I said to him is, my answer is, what I think of Ford is like the least relevant thing in the world right now. It has nothing to do with any of this. What if I tell you I like Ford? I think Ford's a good buy, and I have a lot of conviction in the stock, and the stock goes from about 16 to 7. What if I tell you I don't like the company, I think it's awful, and it goes from 16 to 30? All right. And even if I had the most conviction in any stock, and I'm truly feeling a stock is just an incredible buy, you've got to own it. It's just amazing. In a normal portfolio, it might only be 3, 4, or 5% tops in the portfolio anyway, no matter how strong my conviction is about a stock. Why? Because I could be wrong. And that's even if you're a client who's suitable for stocks. I have some clients, a lot of clients, who are just in exchange traded funds that track, indexes. Whether you can't invest directly into an index, but you could invest in a security that tracks or mimics an index. Okay. So the point is, I said, we need a strategy for the Ford. You could sell some now, and you could put a trailing stop order in some, and then you could hold on to some for the long term in case it really does become a miracle where they have all these electric vehicles like they say they're going to, and they can compete with Tesla. It's great that Ford and GM are coming out with electric vehicles, with EVs. Clearly, there's a market for that. I mean, that's what people want. Okay. I have to say this, putting politics aside, consumers want this. If consumers didn't want this, then tell me, why is Tesla $1 trillion valuation? If nobody wanted electric cars and it was just a fad or a passing thing, and it was no big deal, and it's just political, and it's just a left wing conspiracy theory of electric cars, then why did Hertz just order 100,000 Teslas? It's electric vehicles is not a fad, but Ford's coming out with them, but so is everybody else now. So they'll all be back to competing for market share again. That's the downside. That's like the I guess if you are bearish on it. So you have to decide if you have such a big position that could affect you and it's up so much. You either have to say it should only be X percentage of my overall portfolio, it or you have to take a certain amount out, or you have to decide you have to take what your original investment was and sell that much stock to equal your original investment plus whatever the taxes are going to be, and use that to invest in something else and play with the house's money. You have to have a strategy. So that's number one in personal finance. The second thing is this. Okay. I have a client. We met. I have a lot of clients, but this particular, you meet with clients and you decide now is the time to scale back the stock exposure we have. And we knocked off a pretty substantial six figures in stock exposure in a family's overall asset allocation in stocks. Okay. This is a retired couple, super successful. They have more money than they ever thought they would have because the stock market has gone so up. And I asked them, did you ever expect to have this much money? And they're like, I'd never in a million years expected it. Just, there's a lot of baby boomers and let's say the older portion of Gen Xers who are walking around with a lot more money than they expected because of the stock market going up and because of their home values going up. If you want to know why the labor force is shrinking, if you want to know why like there's fewer people to find to work, it's because a lot of people decided they're rich enough to retire. Rich is a relative term. It's how you define it. But for these people, a lot of people are thinking they now have enough money that they could actually retire. So anyway, this client had more money in their portfolio than they thought. So than they ever thought they could have. We shaved the asset allocation into stocks down by $200,000. Sold $200,000, rebalanced. And then the next day, for their child, we invested the same amount into the market. Or why would you sell from one client and invest in the other for the other client? Because the younger client has a very long runway ahead. And so this is how it goes with personal finance. Do you see what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? You get that? Personal finance does not dictate that, for me anyway, for sure, that I give the same exact advice to every single client. And that if I buy for one client, I have to buy stock for all of the clients. If I sell for one client, I have to sell for all the clients. If someone comes to me today who's 35, 40 years old to invest, we're investing. If somebody comes to me today who's 72 and has a lot of money in stocks, they could stay invested. We might not necessarily invest more, or we might cut back on what they have in the market, because you have to take into account people's personal finance, their risk tolerance, time horizon goals, time to their goals, things like that. I hope that helps you with your understanding of personal finance. So if you're thinking about making a change, you're thinking about taking profits on a stock, or you're thinking about investing, like, should I invest in Bitcoin? Should I buy gold? These are the questions that I get every single day. So maybe you have these questions as well. Think of it in terms of personal finance, what you have, what they're going to do for you, and why you expect them to work. I'm not knocking any of these. I don't knock gold. I don't knock Bitcoin. I'm not knocking anything. But I want to, it's such a good liberating feeling having a portfolio that is specifically made for you, as opposed to just buying something because you see crypto going up and you see Bitcoin going up and you're suffering from severe FOMO, where somebody on TV said, oh, I like this particular stock. I've got a big position and I'm buying more of it. And every time it goes down, I'm going to buy more. I'm so bulled up on it. Just because somebody on TV says that, that doesn't mean it's right for you. All right. A few more comments out there Filippo, I just love you, Mitch. I hope they figure it out. That's on Intel, by the way. We're talking about Intel before. I'm holding patiently. How about I'm holding patently? Get it? Patents, patently? Not such a good one. Joshua, having too much money has never been my problem. LOL. Let's do lunch. I'm looking forward to getting to lunch with you. I will be out tomorrow. Just some housekeeping. Tomorrow I will be on a diet of clear liquids because I'm having, the colonoscopy on Thursday. I have no problems or anything. It's just a routine thing. I'm in my 50s. You get your colonoscopies every now and then. So mine is going to be on Thursday. So I'm going to skip the live stream tomorrow and Thursday. If anything crazy is happening in the world, I'll definitely do one on Friday. And thank you so much for joining me. You want to join us on that lunch? Absolutely. You certainly can. I'd love to have you. And I know Josh would too. Oh, Josh is saying TMI. Yeah. Too much information talking about the colonoscopy. I mean, I was going to post pictures on Facebook. I should just end it right there. Okay. I'll see you guys Monday at the latest, Friday at the earliest. If you want to reach out to me and chat, I'm always around for you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.